So I'm Alan Dake. I'm the director of the Heritage Museum. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight, but especially for being a contributor to this campaign. It's been a lot of fun, certainly a lot of work, and if it wasn't for a lot of you generous people, why, it certainly would never have happened. So I'm going to introduce my wife Ann, and she's got some remarks to make.
He came. Welcome everybody. I share what Alan said. I usually stand on a stool because I'm a little shorter than everybody else, and when we have cruise ship people here, I stand on the stool so they can all see me. But I think I'm just gonna go ahead and talk and whatever. So you want to see me? You want me to stand on the stool? Oh, it's a great stool. I love it. They're for the kids. Anyway, and I'm a big kid, I suppose. We welcome all of you. We also thank you because, and the reason we're here tonight, of course, is to make some lovely announcements. But the reason we're here, the biggest reason we're here is you. All of you have been marvelous, have been wonderful, you're awesome. You have made this happen. And excuse me if I get a little emotional because this is an amazing situation, amazing opportunity for the museum and for all of us that are involved, all 80 of us volunteers that are involved to take the museum to the next step and into the future. So I want to say thank you. In fact, everybody give yourselves a big hand because it's you that have done this. All of you. So I have the honor of making a special announcement, but actually I have three. The first one is it's related to the campaign, and it came about because of the campaign, but it actually isn't really part of the campaign at this point. We are very honored to have received a grant from the Arconic Foundation for education. And it's primarily for STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, which of course this place is full of. And what we're going to do, it's a 3-year grant, and it's going to involve sharing activities here and with the Lakeshore Museum and the community college. We want to partner all the people. We're all right here, and we all have different pieces of the puzzle, different pieces of things to share, from how people did stuff originally and all the wonderful ideas to the future. So that's a very exciting thing. The grant is, and I have to single out Amy Heiser because she was the cheerleader. She guided me through this. She held my hand. She did all kinds of things for us to make this happen, and we are very, very grateful. Thank you, my dear, for this thing. But the amount is $80,000. We are overjoyed. The second announcement, second special announcement that I get to make is behind me. Because, as you know, this campaign had 2 pieces. Part of it was accessibility, and the other part was to work on growing the endowment fund to provide for the future of the museum. And you can see behind us that indeed an elevator is going to happen. This is sort of what it's going to look like. And this is where it's going to be. And then it's going to go that way. This poster was produced by G&H, and actually this is their elevator. They took a picture of their elevator and then put the brick around it, but they didn't quite get the wood floor, so we aren't going to have a terrazzo floor. But it gives you an idea of how your wonderful, wonderful gifts are working to do this for the museum and to make this whole place accessible to everyone, which has been a goal of ours for a long time. It's also a goal for all of us volunteers, because as you go around upstairs, you'll see some really big things and some really heavy things, and they've gone up the stairs, and they won't have to do that anymore. Thank goodness. So thank you for that. Yeah, yay, our group is yay. So thank you for that. And finally, the last announcement that I get to make is most exciting. As you know, the campaign goal was to raise $1.25 million. Part of it was for the elevator, part of it was for the future of the museum. And as of yesterday afternoon, I can share the total with you. There are a couple things have come in the last tonight and earlier today that are not in this total. And also, behind you in the steam engine area, there's a list of the current donors, the people who have made this all happen. But today, I can say, ta-da! This is where we are. And it's 1.202, 131. So we are very, very close to goal. So, yes. And cheers to all of you and many, many, many thanks. This is awesome, just awesome. And now you're going to cry. So, next is Paul DeHorn. He's going to share with you a little bit about our organization.
Oh, thank you for being here and sharing this exciting evening with us. We're so pleased. I happen to be chairing the board right now, but I'd like to introduce our other board members to you. And I was hoping that they might be gathered in the same spot, but I see them all over. So many of them have red shirts like I have. So if you see those red shirts, you know that they're probably on the board, or at least volunteers. So, but I'll give you the names of those who are on the board. Andy Buzzard, Jim Fennell, Adam Winters, Ray Hilt, and Dan Lynn is an ex officio member. All of these people were on the board back in 2009 when things really took off with the museum. Prior to that, you know, we were always a part of the Muskegon Heritage Association, which had a broader interest in the downtown, the preservation of historic buildings. But back in those early years, in 2009, by 2009, they were really thinking museum, and we need to gather more artifacts and make this a place that people want to visit. And so the people that I've already mentioned here, Andy, Jim, Adam, and Ray Hilt, and Dan, they were on the board at that time. Since then, some newer members are Dick Didrikson, Chris Dewar, Roger Wheaton, Jim Runyon, Bob Harvey, and of course, Ann and Alan Dake are on the board. We have a 12-member board, and Jim Runyon is our newest member, just came on in the last 2 months. So we're really pleased about that. You might want to know that our museum membership, we have 365 families registered with us this year, and we have 80 active volunteers who are here every month between mid-May to mid-October to greet people coming in. You know that we're open Thursday through Saturday, except for cruise ship days, when we have lots of extra people. And we are so pleased about the cruise ship days because we might see 150 or more people on those days, and it is so much fun to do that. The people that are here on cruise ship days really speak very highly of the museum. You know, they go from Toronto to Chicago, and then the other trip is the reverse, and they are excited about being in Muskegon. What they see here is unmatched in the other places, and it's exciting for us to hear that from them. You might want to know that this place couldn't function without the volunteers that we have. And we have 80 active volunteers. They put in an estimated amount of 4,500 hours. Now that's only the ones that they bother to record in the notebook when we ask them to record. And we found that where those kinds of figures are kept track of, what they're worth, do you know what? That's worth over $100,000 of volunteer. So we are proud of our volunteers. And I do see a few of those volunteers that had to come tonight with their red shirts too. So say hi to them and thank them for being here. And thank you for being here tonight.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Any of you who have ever worked on a fundraising campaign know that you can't do it alone. Fundraising is a team sport, without doubt, and we had an incredible team, and I get to introduce the people who helped work on the campaign. The campaign started about a year ago, and it consisted at that point, in addition to yours truly, we of course had Ann and Alan Dake, they were the prime movers, and then we had Frank Bednarik and John Blythe, and you'll hear from them shortly. But we got together approximately a year ago and started laying out the plans for it. You know, what's the brochure going to look like? What kind of naming opportunities and giving levels, etc. And then we learned somewhere around the winter time about an unemployed person in Muskegon who had recently lost her job, and we found out that she also knew a little bit about museums. So Judy Hayner at that point came on and was our special advisor. And so Judy, thanks very much. You were a great contributor to our effort. Then the next item was to establish some credibility in the community, and so we wanted to name some honorary co-chairs for the campaign. And we wanted business leaders who were known in the community, hopefully, business leaders who cared about philanthropy, and people who would give our campaign some instant credibility. We found 3 such individuals who stepped forward and willingly agreed to be honorary co-chairs, and those individuals are John Hilt and Chuck Johnson. Is Chuck here? I don't know if I saw him, but Chuck was an honorary co-chair, and Mike Olthoff. Thank you. Thank you very much to our honorary co-chairs, and also for your very generous contributions. Really appreciate it. Then we also wanted some community endorsers, people who were well known in the community. And so first we picked out 4 political leaders. I know at least one of them is here, but Steve Garon, I don't know if Steve made it.
No, he had a meeting.
He had a meeting, okay. Steve is the mayor of Muskegon, of course. We have Gary Nealand, mayor of Norton Shores. I saw him. Thank you, Gary. Kimberly Sims, the mayor of Muskegon Heights. She's here, good. And also we have Chris Witham, and I don't know if Chris made it today. Anybody seen Chris? Okay, so anyway, those are the 4 elected officials. We then had 2 prominent heads of our 2 fantastic local museums. Kirk Hallman. Kirk is here, I know. Thank you, Kirk. And next to him, Anushka from the Lakeshore Museum. Thanks, Anushka. And finally, the last community endorser, but not least, was Cindy Larson. Thank you all very much for your support. Really appreciate it. And lastly, I want to thank the campaign committee. And I'm just going to read the list of names. If you're here, could you please raise your hand when I call your name? And then I'll just say a few words about their effort. But Roger and Marilyn Anderson, Sherry Becker, I know Sherry's here, raise your hand. Susan Bednarik, Jane, and of course, Susan is here, right?
Yep.
Okay. And you brought her? You brought her. Good. Jane Blythe, Susan Crane, and I should say that Susan also got her husband Orville involved, so he became a de facto member of the campaign. Paul DeHorn, who you heard from, Chris Dewar, my homie, Dan Dillevin, Bob Harvey, Judy Hayner, and Amy Heiser, and Steve Olson. I know Dan is here, I'm not sure Steve is here. Jim Runyon and Marcia Funnel, and Judy and Ted Stojak. Give them a hand. they were a great committee. They of course did all the heavy lifting, wrote the letters, made the calls, did just a great job. We had regular monthly meetings run by Frank, and everybody was involved in the campaign. We had some very experienced people on the campaign, of course the Andersons, Amy, Steve Olson, Judy. We had some very experienced people, and we had people who'd never worked on a campaign before in their lives, so it was the first time for them. But by the end of the campaign, everybody was on the same page, making calls, doing the hard work, and as you can see, now that we've finished the silent phase of the campaign, we're nearly at our goal. So kudos to all of them. And finally, again, as Ann said, thanks to all the donors. We couldn't have done it without you. Appreciate it.
Gosh, what an exciting time. I mean, to be here now, and so many of us worked as volunteers on this campaign. But first of all, being within $50,000 of our $1.25 million goal, it's just incredible. I first want to just say, because of Ann and Alan Dake, who got Paul involved, so many of us involved, volunteers all over. This was volunteerism plus. It wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for the last 5, 10, 15 years for us. So let's just give them a big hand. When we got started, 9 months or so ago with this, we talked and we said, let's think about, we got to have that elevator, we have to have accessibility, we need to open the hours for more educational programs. Let's think about $1,250,000, because the $250,000 or a bit more will go for the elevator and all the accessibility, and the rest we can add to the endowment, which I think at that time was roughly around $250,000. And here we are now, within $50,000 of it. We got a success, and what should we do about it? And I think we've got to get over the top as fast as we can. But then a couple of us started talking, those of us who were involved with this, originally about, should we keep this campaign open like we were going to for the rest of the year? Should we get new asks? Or what should we do? Well, the conclusion that we tended to come to was that the endowment, which is growing, which is now going to be around close to $1 million after the elevator and accessibility, is going to, should grow more and more. And this was a start to get it going, because we've been blessed for the last 5 or 10 years with Ann and Alan, who work pro bono. There's no fees. The volunteerism has been fantastic, and that's going to continue. But there will be a time with this great museum, which now has over 12,000 square feet, 90 exhibits. It's exciting to everybody, where there's going to need to be some curatorial staff involved. So our decision has been, let's keep this guy going, let's keep this campaign going, get what we can now for this $1.25 million, and then without any specific asks, we go and ask people, oh, we need more for the endowment. We will keep it going through a public campaign for the next few years. So that's been our decision to date. And I'm just, as a person who volunteers a lot, as Judy does now and others, it's just so exhilarating to have the enjoyment of celebrating this museum, of working with such wonderful volunteers that's happening to us. So thank you all so much for being like I am, just one volunteer here. Thank you so much.
We're the final act here. We're your final entertainment.
For those that don't know me, I'm Frank Bednarik, and I had the honor of working with all these people to raise funds for this wonderful museum. And I was just at an event, I think it was Saturday night, with when Judy Hayner said, we build on everybody's shoulders. And that really is true in the community. And you all are providing the shoulders for a lot of people. And not only have you done it here, but you've done it for the theater, the Museum of Art, the County Museum, and now the Lakeshore Museum, and the wonderful village up north. And so we're very, very grateful to you. And what we're going to do is kick off the public campaign now, because we are going to keep going and see what we can do to raise funds for the endowment. And of course, there's no end to a need for an endowment for a place like this. So in the next few weeks, you'll be seeing some news articles. We'll be running some advertising. We'll be looking to get more contributions for the endowment fund. And we would like to ask all of you to help. Just encourage your friends and associates to join us in making this wonderful place even better. So thank you very much. And Ann, it's yours. And then we'll turn it back over to Jan Dewar so he can explain it.
I just want to repeat thank you from the bottom of our hearts, how important this has been and how wonderful all of you are to support this, what turned into quite a spot. And we are thrilled to be able to share this with the community and keep it going and see it grow and expand well into the future. So thank you all so much. And do you have a few more things to say?
Jan, just real quick.
Oh, okay.
Jan,
We had a program, but obviously we're not following it. So. Sorry. Anyway, but thank you all so much. And please, there's lots more food. Please help yourselves. What? Oh, yes. Is he? Susan's wave. She's doing a commercial.
I am willing to pass out continuing information if you'd like to share with your friends and your neighbors to help us move forward on this. So come see me.
Thank you. There's a table up front. Like I said, we're off program, but that's okay. Thank you. We have 2 cheerleaders back there, among others. And we do have lots more information. So if there's someone that you know that you think might be interested in participating, helping, being part of this phenomenal organization, please see Susan and Orville or Judy. They're going to be up at the table in front. We have lots of stuff that you can share, or they can have them call any one of us, because we want to share this opportunity. And finally, Jan.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right, so for those of you, many of you will recognize this because you already filled one out. It's our pledge card. If you haven't seen one of these, you really need to get your hands on it. And Susan and Orville can help you. Judy, are all of you going to be at the table? Okay, so the table that Ann mentioned near the front. We have a fund established at the Community Foundation. You can give cash, you can give through the fund. You can do it over a 3-year period. And if you exceed $25,000, you can go over a 5-year period. So we're very flexible, and Alan has accepted all sorts of gifts in the past, boats, cars, planes. So we're very open to all sorts of gifts. So thank you very much for everything you've done. And did you have anything else? Okay, enjoy the party.